Hey everybody, Doc MTG here, and I hope you guys saw the video yesterday, that crazy package that MTG unsealed sent me, but today, it's time that we talk about the Saskia Werewolf deck, just in time for Halloween. But, before that, if you guys enjoy content on this channel, don't forget to be subscribed, hit that like button, share the content, goes a super long way in helping the channel grow. You can check out the description down below, not only for the tapped out link with the deck list, but a link to my Patreon if you guys want to support me that way, and a link to an Amazon affiliate link, because if you're ever shopping on Amazon, use that link and the channel gets a small percentage sent back to it. So, Saskia The Unyielding. Pretty fun commander. I try to keep this build a little competitive, but again, it's just a casual build all around werewolves. And wolves and a whole other band of crazy characters. But this deck, if you want to build, will cost you about 120 bucks, not that bad. So we have Saskia, she's black, red, green, and white. Get a human soldier, that's a 3/4 with vigilance and haste, and as Saskia the Unyielding enters the battlefield, choose a player. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. Pretty sick card. Really good at trying to, like redirect some damage to Planeswalkers. Actually, that's something that'll have to be looked up, and I'll write down in the description down below on how Saskia interacts with the new Planeswalker role. But really good at, killing two opponents at once, which this deck likes to do. So, first, we're gonna go over lands like usual. This deck runs 36 lands, 17 basics, which is 7 forest, 4 mountains, 4 plains, and 2 swamp. Then we get into our other land, which I'm gonna go ahead and bring closer and focus in. So we have Mosswort Bridge, nice hideaway land, Slayer's Stronghold, a nice haste enabler and a nice little boost. Staring Wildwood, Needle Spires, Shimmering Grotto, Jungle Shrine, Nomad Outpost, Savage Lands, Command Tower, Manic Confluence, Land of War Wastes, Cave of Quelos, Game Trail, Forbidding Ruins, Naya Panorama is another way to get out our basics, Jund Panorama, Evolving Wilds, Ghost Quarter, and Homeward Path for anybody that's trying to steal our stuff. Moving away from lands, the deck runs 29 creatures, a lot of wolves, a lot of them are green and red, and some non-wolf things as support. So we have, and this section is going to be a little bit longer because a lot of these cards are flip cards, and that's why some of them don't have sleeves. So we have Wolf-Bitten Captive for green. You get a human werewolf that's a 1/1 that says for 1 green, you can give it +2/+2 until end of turn. But like most of the wolf cards and transform cards, if an opponent casts no spells in a turn, it gets to transform into the Crowan Horde Killer. It's a 2/2 wolf, same kind of ability on the back as in the front, where for 3 and a green, you give it +4/+4 until end of turn. You can only activate it once a turn, and if one player casts 2 or more spells in a turn, it will transform back. We have the Scorned Villager. For 1 and a green, you get a Manadork Werewolf that when it transforms, it gets Vigilance, and it gets to tap for 2 green. Next up, we have the good old Mayor of Avabrook. For a 1 and a green, you get a 1/1 Human Visor Werewolf that gives other humans you control +1/+1, and then no spells cast, it transforms into Howlpack Alpha. It gives other werewolf and wolf creatures you control +1/+1. And at the beginning of your end step, you put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. Super nice to start going wide, especially in EDH. When you have multiple opponents, that is. So next we have Dustwatch Recruiter. We should all be kind of familiar with this. Shadows over in the chart wasn't that long ago. But it is a 2/2 for 2 that lets you look at the top 3 cards of your library, and you can reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. The other cards go on the bottom of your library in any order, and that ability only costs 2 and a green. I like that side actually better than the backside, but the backside is nice when you want to start dumping a bunch of creatures and you get them to flip back to the front side. But the Crawling Horde Howler lets your creature spells cost 1 less to cast, and it's a 3/3. Next we have the Witch Stalker for 1 and double green. I just put this in here because a wolf and had the word witch. But it is a 3/3 that's hexproof, also really nice that it's hexproof. But then, whenever an opponent casts a blue or black spell during your turn, put a 1/1 counter on Witch Stalker. Next we have the Silver for Partisan. This is awesome to have on the field, especially when there's a lot of targeted removal going around. Because for 2 and a green, you get a 2/2 Wolf Warrior. It's not even a werewolf, it's actually a wolf. Really odd, right? But it has trample, and then it says whenever a wolf or werewolf you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. That also does count for tokens. Hermit of the Nakanals for 2 and a green. This little human werewolf guy says that whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, you draw a card, and then the opposite side, the Lone Wolf of the Nakanals, says you get to draw 2 cards instead. Had a nice big booty, nice 3/5. The Wolfbriar Elemental, not a wolf, but is a way to spit wolves onto the battlefield if you have a multi-kicker, because for 2 and a green and then multi-kicker paying green any amount of times that you would like to, it says when it enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield for each time that it was kicked. And this nice little elemental is a 4/4 as well. We have the Wolfpack Guardian for 2 and a green. Get a flashy wolf spirit, and it's a foil, but it's a 3/4, and it says when it enters the battlefield, you may discard a land card, land specifically. If you do, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. As you can see, there's like a tiny token generation thing. Then we have the Briarpack Alpha for 3 and a green. It's another flashy wolf, not in foil. But it says whenever it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Nice little pump, nice little surprise on your opponents when they're attacking, and you need to pump something that is blocking. Speaking about blocking, this creature right here, excuse me, the Somber Ward Alpha for 3 and a green. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It's a 3/2, and then it says for 1 and a green, target creature you control gains trample until end of turn. At the Whiffear Silverheart for 3 and double green, you get a 4/4 Wolf Warrior with Soul Bond. What is the Soul Bond? You may pair this creature with another unpaired creature whenever either enters the battlefield. They may remain paired for as long as you control both of them. So, as long as the Silverheart is paired with another creature, both of those creatures are getting +4/+4. So, just having another creature on the battlefield, and this is actually an 8/8. 8/8 wolf, it's not bad. Ah, yes. You can't run a green deck and try to be competitive and not have a little acidic slime in your life to destroy target artifacts, enchantments, or lands. And at the Kessig Wolf, not Kessig Wolf, but Kessig Cage Breakers for 4 and a green. Get a human rogue that's 3/4. That says whenever it attacks, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking for each creature card in your graveyard. Now the Sage of Ancient Lore. As you can see, most of these cards are all green, but Sage of Ancient Lore. For 4 and green, you get a werewolf, shaman, human, with star, power, and toughness, because the power and toughness are going to be equal to the number of cards in your hand. But when it enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. So the worst it can be is a 1/1. But if no spells were cast, it becomes a Vigilance Trampler that says its power and toughness are equal to the total of cards in all players' hands. Could be a sweet, sweet game ender. We have the Fang of the Pack for 5 and a green. You get a wolf that's a 5/3 with melee, and it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, another creature you control gains melee until end of turn. And if you have no idea what melee is, this is what melee is. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent attacked with the creature this combat. So you spread the love by sending your tokens left and right. So the other way, upside down, and all of a sudden, 2 creatures with melee all of a sudden have +4/+4, and they're just annoying to deal with. Like this being a 9/7, funny. Next, we have the Breakneck Rider for 1 in double red. You get a 3/3, that's a werewolf, does nothing on the front, but the back is really nice. You get the Neck Breaker that says attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample, and this becomes a 4/3. Again, trample is very nice, especially when you have Saskia out and you just want to start commanding the board. Now the Kirin Outlaw for 1 double red, once again we have a 2/2 first strike. It becomes Terra of Kirin Pass, a 3/3 double strike, and then it also has the added ability to say each werewolf you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Gives the whole squad menace. We have the Gyre Reach Bandit, nice little foil. For 2 in red, it's a 3/2 with haste, nothing too exciting, but when it does transform, oh man, when it becomes the Pat Alpha, whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, transform it. So, as long as this stays transformed, every wolf that enters will automatically flip. You'll benefit from both sides if there's enter the battlefield effects on either side and transform effects. Now the Pyreheart Wolf cannot go wrong with a wolf that has Undying, and that also has, whenever it attacks, sorry about that, each creature you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Yep, that's right. More menace. Wolf, menace. I mean, it makes sense as much as like werewolf creatures are menacing. We have the Shaman. Shaman's a werewolf, that's 3/2. That becomes a 5/5, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell, the flip side, Mage Hunter deals 2 damage to that player. And it's a 5/5 all on its own. Look at that grizzly art, so nice. There's like a, I think, pre-release or something. Next, we have the Instigator Gang for 3 in red. This is something like the Neckbreaker and Breakneck Rider, where attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 to 2/3 on the front, but the backside becomes trample, and then whenever a creature you control, or attacking creatures you control get, sorry, I can't even refocus. Attacking creatures you control get +3/+0. Pretty gnarly. We have the Afflicted Deserter. Only reason I have this card in the deck is because, besides it being a werewolf, there is an artifact player in my play group, so I have to do something about artifacts a little bit more often than usual. So his flip side says, whenever this creature transforms into Werewolf Ransacker, you may destroy target artifact. If that artifact is put into a graveyard this way, Werewolf Ransacker deals 3 damage to that artifact's controller. Super way to punish artifact players. So we have the Gisaf. There are a bunch of arts in this. More werewolves. Nothing special about these guys, just filler. But they are pretty mean on the backside. 6/5 menace. Emerwolf. You can't really run the werewolf deck without Emerwolf. It is a 2/2 for 1 a red and a green that says Intimidate. It's a little bit different than Menace, but that's not the real point you want this card, is because of the other 2 parts. Other wolf and werewolf creatures you control get +1/+1, and the best part of it is non-human werewolves you control can't transform. I'm trying to let that settle in. Alright, so, lesson time. Human werewolf. Okay, so you can transform. Switch to the other side. Non-human werewolves you control can't transform. Huh, this is just a werewolf. Oh, it can't transform back. In a short lesson, protect this at all costs. Hunt Master of the Fells, one of the recent additions I got in the mail. For 2, a red and a green, you get a 2/2 that says whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transform into a Hunt Master of the Fells, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield and you gain 2 life. Then bam, flip it, and you got Ravager of the Fells. A 4/4 trampler that says whenever this creature transforms into the Ravager of the Fells, it deals 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. This is one of those werewolves you don't mind flipping back and forth because you get benefits from both sides. Uric of the Krolin Horde for 3 a red and a green. The 4/4 legend says whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Uric of the Krolin Horde, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. And then the other side, what Uncontested Alpha says is whenever a creature transforms into the Uncontested Alpha, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. 6/6 fighting something mostly kills a lot of things in EDH, but the first non-werewolf, right? Yeah, I think Kessig Cagebreakers was the first non-werewolf, but this one, Samut, Voice of Dissent. Now you're probably wondering why this is in here. 1, it has flash, works really well with Saskia. Double strike, vigilance, haste. Other creatures you control have haste. We want to give our creatures another haste enabler. And then for 1 white, or just for a white, and tapping it, you can untap another target creature. Comes in clutch. And lastly, we have Tessamir Wolfblood. This is like one of my favorite cards. Finally happy that I have a copy of it. Been meaning to pick this pup up for a while. So go ahead and zoom in on the art because I liked it a lot. Oh my god. So for 4, a green and a white, you get a elf warrior that says other green creatures you control get +1/+1, other white creatures you control get +1/+1. Then you can tap it and put a 2/2 legendary green and white wolf creature token named Voja into play. But how does that work with, not the wolf, but how does the buff work? Other green and other white. Oh look, there's green and white. So this is going to get +2/+2, making this a 5/6. Not bad. 6 artifacts make this build, and that's Soul Ring, because we definitely want to be doing things a lot faster than most. Boros Signet. Swiftfoot Boots for some nice haste and hexproof. We have a Dark Steel Ingot because we definitely need all our color sources. Panharmonicon to trigger off Saskia is actually quite hilarious because get to pick 2 people. You can end the game a lot quicker that way. And you know, some of the other Enter the Battlefield effects are nice upon entry. And then we have a Conjurer's Closet, also filling the same kind of role as Panharmonicon, but together just being way, way dangerous. We have 11 enchantments. Some of them are tribal support, some of them are just control, kind of, and some are to, you know, help us out throughout the game. So we have Full Moon's Rise. For 1 in the green, you gain an enchantment that says werewolf creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample. And you can sack this to regenerate all werewolf creatures you control. We have Beastmaster's Ascension. Pretty awesome, you know. Attack with just 2 or 3 wolves each turn. get some counters on this, and then all of a sudden, wham, all your creatures get +5/+5. It's insane. Wolfpack Resurgence, just like the Full Moon's Rise, except for this one has Flash, and each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf gets +1/+1 and has trample. So this actually counts for your wolves as well. Asceticism, give all our creatures hexproof, and being able to regenerate target creatures just for 1 and a green is always nice. Blind Obedience is a way to make sure we slow down our opponents, especially when they're playing combo decks that require their mana rocks come in untapped, or just slow them down with their creatures. This is a great card. Spirit Bonds. Always, I think this card is so undervalued, but this is in here for the whole Halloweenish flavoring, spirits and stuff like that. For 1 and a white, whenever a non-token creature you control enters the battlefield, you may pay a white. If you do, put a 1/1 white spirit onto the battlefield with flying. And then for 1 and a white, you sacrifice a spirit, and target non-spirit creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Nice way to make our wolves hard. Zing! But we have Catherine's Crusade. Sorry about that, guys. For 3 and double white, you get an enchantment that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. This is, again, with that small token like engine in the deck, this gets a little bit out of hand. True Conviction, just giving all your creatures double strike and lifelink. If you're low on life, you're gonna come back extremely quick. Fires of Yagamaya, because you know, like I said earlier, you know, we need to give our creatures haste. And we have God of Victory, another way to make our creatures more menacing, but the little added bonus of prevent all damage that will be dealt to attacking creatures you control, so it lets you attack and not worry about damage. And the last card I want to talk about, and some people in my playgroup do not like this card because it's extremely dangerous, especially in this build, and I also have this in here for Halloween purposes, but Havoc Festival. For a black and a red, you get such a dirtily enchantment. It's too good not to play. Players can't gain life for 1. And then it says, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half of his or her life rounded up. So as soon as this resolves, you go pass, and that person's losing half their life. Then when it also counts for you, but when it gets all the way around the table, everybody's already at half life, and with most of your creatures being fast and having trample and all this other stuff, you're just going to overpower them on their life total. But we're just gonna keep moving on. So we have 3 walkers. We have Garruk Relentless for 3 and a green. We got this Bad Butt Baruch. Bad Butt Baruch? No, I guess I have to say it. We have this badass Garruk that says he has 3 loyalty counters and he only transforms. There's a transforming Garruk if he has 2 or fewer loyalty counters on him. So for 0, his first ability, deal 3 damage to target creature. That creature deals damage equal to its power to Garruk. Or you can 0 and put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. But you're mostly going to kill like a 1/1 or something. You're going to get him to transform. And you're going to get the Vile Cursed. His +1 is, you put a 1/1 black wolf creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. His -1 is, you sack a creature, you search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And his -3 is, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures in your graveyard. Extremely dangerous when you have a board full of wolves and werewolves and all bunch of other nonsense. Oh look, this isn't a werewolf, it's a vampire, so it's still Halloweeny. We have Sorin, the Solemn Visitor, also becomes really fun to play in this build because he comes in with 4 loyalty and he costs 2 white and a black, but his +1 is, until end of turn, or until your next turn, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain lifelink. It's good for all, you know, if you're going wide, you have tons of creatures. -2, you put a 2/2 black vampire creature token onto the battlefield with flying. And his -6 is you get an emblem with, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. And of course, we have to have Harlan Court in this build, because she is the Werewolf Planeswalker. Everybody is quite aware of that. She is really awesome. I just want to talk about her emblem, because her emblem is quite nasty. Creatures you control have haste, and you can tap them. And there's actually a couple ways of one in EDH is with her emblem. But yeah, creatures you control have haste and have tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Disgusting. Alright, moving into instants, we have a total of a whopping 3. Just 3 instants. We have Moon Mist for 1 and a green. You get an instant that says transform all humans. Prevent all damage that will be dealt this turn by creatures other than werewolves and wolves. Eerie Interlude. Save yourself from a board wipe, because people play a lot of things like, I don't know, Wrath of God, where you can't regenerate creatures, or Damnation. So this is a better way to get around that, because you exile any number of target creatures you control, return those cards to the battlefield under your control, or under their owner's controls, at the beginning of the next end step. And we have Anguish Unmaking, because paying 3 life to exile a permanent is good, because sometimes you just have to exile that one piece of their combo, whether it be like Basalt Monolith or something. You have to get rid of it. Then we move into our sorceries, which is a total of 11. We have a Rampant Growth, good way to ramp. Eldritch Evolution, good way to get some creatures out from the deck. Explosive Vegetation, more ramp. Shamanic Revelation, this is good for card draw, depending on how many creatures you have on the field, and if they have 4 power or more, you're gonna get 4 life for each of those. Vandal Blast, definitely good with Overload to get rid of all the artifacts you don't control. Hour of Devastation. Now I run Hour of Devastation over like Wrath of God and stuff like that, because this deals with Planeswalkers, and there are some attractive players in my play group, so I have to get rid of Planeswalkers too. You can't just destroy all creatures, and there's no creatures to destroy. And Fumigate, there you go. That's to destroy all the creatures, and I'd rather gain life. Planar Cleansing, destroy all non-land permanents. This is also a really good one. Cruel Edict, target player sacrifices a creature. This is for like the Narset players. Diabolic Tutor, I put this in here, why not? I'm not really a big fan of having too many tutors in the deck, but we got this one. And last but not least, Merciless Eviction, because why not exile all the types of some nonsense that is happening. So, let me know what you guys think of the build in the comment section down below. If there's any things you guys would change up. Don't forget to be subscribed by hitting the subscribe button right there in that corner. And as always guys, this is Doc MTG saying peace.